This is your Pain Game podcast, where we talk about the game of living in and with chronic pain and trauma, getting to the heart of how to heal. I am your host, Lyndsay Soprano. On this show, I plan on discussing with doctors, chronic pain patients, holistic practitioners, loved ones, and anybody that is interested in having their voice heard in the chronic pain and trauma world that we live in. So here we go. First episode of this love child of mine that I have been mixing and shaking for the past 2 years when I decided that I wanted to do this. And I wasn't even quite sure what this meant. I just knew that I wanted to get behind the mic and talk, not necessarily jumping on the whole podcast bandwagon, but I wanted to do something where I could be 100% vulnerable. And it would be a disservice to me and to you if I was anything but. And for those of you that know me, that are listening, know that I am a 100% vulnerable human being, and I would give nothing less than that here. I know way too many people who live in and with pain. I see how it affects every person around us. I mean, I see it every single day in my life, living in chronic pain. Our spouses are affected, our partners, our sweeties, our family members, friends, coworkers, everybody is affected by our diagnosis. And we don't even ask them if it's okay to be included in our conversations about how much pain we're in or what we're experiencing. And we put our pain on other people. And we usually put it on the people that we love the most instead of those that are at a distance, right? So we aren't going to be just talking about what I've been diagnosed with, which I'll get into in a minute. But we're talking about any pain disease, cancer, PTSD, traumas of all sorts, sexual abuse, physical, emotional abuse, you name it. This is pain. Pain is pain is pain. And I say that all of the time. But I am here to try to make pain beautiful. I would never have thought that pain could be beautiful. And I certainly wouldn't have thought that I'd be doing it from this chair that I am sitting in right now. But I can't make it beautiful without you by my and our sides, all right? So put your big girl panties on and let's do this thing. Because I always say, I feel like we are missing something, because we are. We're missing a safe space where we can come together and help each other heal together. I mean, I know that there are chronic pain forums and chat rooms and all of that. I was involved in them early on. I found them to be not the right space for me. I found them to be a lot of listing of all of the things that were going wrong and all the things that they were taking in order to fix it. And then all the things they were taking in order to fix the things that they were taking to fix the things that they were taking. And nobody was talking about healthy alternatives to pills, right? And it's one of the reasons why there's a pill on the tongue in the logo of this podcast, because I am not here to just pop pills and hope for the best. Fuck that noise. I'm better than that. And so are you. So I'm here because I mean business. I want to cure, man. I want to cure for me and I want to cure for you. And I know that that's a out of this world thought that I could come up with cures for all of our diseases. But you know what? Even if we can't find them, we're together in the process and the journey. And we need to do it for us and we need to do it for our loved ones. We need to be able to live. We need to live and stop saying no to vacations and stop saying no to concerts and stop saying no to the things we say no to. Because if you're anything like me, we do. Because we avoid having to be put into situations that we're unable to really be in because we're in so much pain and we don't want to complain while we're there. So we don't show up. But I'm here and I'm showing up. I show up every single day for my life, and I'm shifting into a whole different showing up in my life, which we're going to talk about on this show. So after years of unknown and disconnected health issues of my own, I was constantly seeing doctors and specialists, spending gobs and gobs of money to, help curb the enthusiasm, I guess, that is my pain, and continuously getting pissed off at our healthcare system because there isn't much care. I mean, they like us sick. I'm freaking sick of it. I am freaking sick of sharing my story over and over again on that stupid medical exam, crisp craft paper on top of the table in each doctor's office The storytelling is just obnoxious beyond obnoxious. So we are going to cover the mountain of issues that come with being chronically ill, from loss of wages and disability and workers' comp and legal issues, battling with insurance companies to help pay for a damn wheelchair, and even for cognitive behavioral therapy. Like, I can't even get my insurance to cover therapy. And this isn't a dig on the trans community, because I have trans friends and I love them dearly, but I find it hard to believe that my insurance company covers $10,000 for a sexual transition surgery or assistance with that, but doesn't cover acupuncture, biofeedback, or wheelchair. It's a topic. It's a topic that we need to talk about, because what they choose to pay for and what they don't is absurd. How is there this huge fucking disconnect? I don't understand it. And I'm pissed. One of the reasons I'm here is because I'm pissed off. And I laugh when I'm pissed off too, because I mean, what's the alternative? So here I am. I have 35 years of like legit sleep deprivation since I was about 9 years old, which started with anxiety, stemmed from some childhood stuff, which we'll get into. Anxiety and depression, mostly anxiety my whole life. Being chronically sick or being chronically ill and in pain is depressing. I don't suffer from depression per se, as I struggle with the fact that what has happened to me in my life is depressing. So I struggle with that. Alcohol and drug abuse over years here and there, sexual trauma, as well as physical and emotional abuse. And they have all led to chronic pain. And I believe that trauma after trauma after trauma is compounded. Not like you get a trauma. Like I have had 5 concussions, 5, right? One doesn't just go away. They compound on top of each other. And these things sit in our souls, these traumas, and they sit in our bods, right? And I believe that if we together, this isn't a whole kumbaya session, all right, guys? I believe that if we come together and we start talking about this in a different way, whether we're talking about healing instead of masking, I think we're going to see some better results. So, and of course, when you're dealing with chronic pain, it tends to lead right back down the whole alcohol and drug abuse chain gang. And then if you've got doctors that are throwing opiates at you, of course you're taking drugs. I am not of that ilk. And I'm just tired. I'm freaking exhausted. And I'm tired of saying that I'm tired. But it has led me here. And it's led me to this place where I want to help heal myself. And I want to help heal others as best as I can. Maybe this is my calling, right? I mean, maybe this happened to me. Maybe this is my TED Talk. TED Talk or not, I'm still here. All right. So I was diagnosed with CRPS, which is short for chronic regional pain syndrome, about 6.5 years ago. It's lovingly been coined the suicide disease. So whoever came up with that name, please call me. I have some things I'd like to chit chat with you about, because that is like the worst thing that you could possibly coin a disease. Suicide disease. We've lost so many people in the CRPS community to this disease by suicide, because it is so painful. If you know anything about the McGill pain scale, it's not the little happy faces in the hospital, right? It's a scale of 0 to 50. It's called like no pain to your head just exploded off of your body, right? So it goes up from like headaches to toothaches and bruises and fibromyalgia, and it works its way up all the way to unprepared childbirth, then up to, which is at a scale of 36 on most of these charts. It kind of depends. They're a little swaggerty here and there. Amputation, then up to kidney stones, and then CRPS. So CRPS on the McGill's pain scale is higher in pain than natural childbirth. You know, in fact, CRPS used to be called reflex sympathetic dystrophy syndrome. Super easy to say. So RSD. In fact, Paula Abdul was diagnosed with RSD many years ago and is a strong voice in the CRPS and RSD community. In fact, she got a lot of crap for her behavior on American Idol as a judge back in the day. At that time, she was going through a ton of RSD treatment protocols, including massive amounts of drugs. Everyone thought she was drunk. Remember, she had that, I think it was Coke. I don't remember what the advertising placement was, but I think it was Coke. And everyone thought she was drunk. She wasn't. She was trying to find relief for RSD, CRPS. So, Paula, I love you for listening. It is important to note early on here this is not just about CRPS, okay? I know I mentioned it earlier, but I'm going to mention it again because I want to make sure that we don't go down the CRPS like wormhole. But it's important for you guys to know that what I go through so that I have, some sense of understanding, sympathetic and empathetic to the pain world, not just from a physical pain perspective, but also from an emotional perspective as well. But I do want to quick educate you on CRPS. So CRPS pain conditions are characterized by severe burning pain, most often affecting one or more of the extremities, your arms, your legs, your hands, or your feet. There are pathological changes in bone and skin, excessive sweating, tissue swelling, and excessive sensitivity to touch, which is also known as allodynia. So CRPS is so incredibly unusual. It affects the nerves, skin, muscles, blood vessels, and bones at the same time. Like, guys, my bones hurt. Some days it feels like my bone marrow is like on fire. And I'm not joking. I'm not being like hyperbolic and making this big deal out of nothing. It literally feels like I am burning from the inside out, which is where some of that sweating comes from, the excessive sweating part. I originally was diagnosed with perimenopause when I first was complaining about it. Well, that would have been way better than this. I mean, my teeth hurt. My hair hurts. How can my fucking hair hurt? I mean, CRPS truly is the root of all evil. I swear to God, this is insane. So back to more of the clinical stuff. So key symptom is chronic intense pain that is out of proportion to the severity of the cause, which gets worse over time rather than better. It most often affects the arms, legs, hands, or feet, like I mentioned before. And in my case, all of those and then some, because I have full body CRPS. So this intense pain, and this doesn't cover like everybody that has CRPS doesn't have all of these, but I have every single one of these. Burning pain, increased skin sensitivity to touch, changes in skin temperature, warm or cool compared to the opposite extremity, changes in skin color, blotchy, purple, pale, red, changes in skin texture, shiny, thin, sometimes excessively sweaty, or looks like wax, like I'm in a freaking wax museum in Hollywood. Changes in nail and hair growth patterns. My nails break, my hair falls out, swelling and stiffness in joints, and motor disability with decreased ability to move affected body part or parts. So it sounds like a pretty awesome party to go to. Nice little kegger, which I feel like I should probably go back in time because for me, my journey started in college. After being diagnosed with Epstein-Barr virus, EBV, and then progressively getting shingles that were so incredibly, extremely painful, I thought that I would never feel pain like that ever again. Well, shingles doesn't hold a candle to CRPS in my opinion, right? I mean, dear Lord. I mean, EBV, a lot of it is because it comes from mono, so we're making out with a bunch of frat boys. Way to go, Lyndsay. Way to go. Could that be from this? I don't know. I would love to go back in time, but right now I'm here and this is what it is, right? So that after years of infertility treatment with my ex-husband, my right big toe just went numb. Just like, hi, I don't want you to feel me anymore. So it slowly progressed from one toe to the next and it so on and so forth, went through the whole foot, then my other foot, and then it's gradually has made its sick and twisted ass way up through my whole body, causing everything from my mobility issues to GI challenges to losing hair, like I mentioned. And there's not one thing that we can blame it on. There's no blame game in this pain game. And that's even more frustrating because there are multiple different versions of CRPS. Mine is the one that's not from an injury or a surgery. It is just full body. We're not really sure where it came from. We have some kind of an idea, maybe based on timeline with infertility drugs, which I've done some research in neurological studies and journals in relation to that. It could just straight up be the luck of the draw. All of the shenanigans in college and in my early days caught up with me, and this is karma. Who knows? So every single step that I take feels like I'm walking on Legos, hot coals, ice, broken glass, and gravel. My toes feel like somebody dropped bowling balls on them last night, and like someone is jamming bamboo shoots under my toenails. And it is all at the same time. And so my little brain is trying to process a million different sensations of pain at the same time. And this is why I want to discuss the brain pain connection on this show, because our brain is the source of so much power. I mean, this is